All right, Scott. Here, session 2 at the Compound Combine. You taught some top technique earlier in the day. Why did you just decide to use the technique that you did?
Well, I would say top is probably my best position. So usually if I go somewhere, especially if it's just a one-time thing, I usually stick to what I'm best at. It's what I'm comfortable teaching. But that's kind of where I get. That's where I'm comfortable.
How'd you get to be tough wrestler on the mat?
I don't know. I just always was kind of good there, and I liked wrestling. And I think where I went to school at Central, we spent a lot of time there, and we had a lot of good top wrestlers come through the program, and Coach Borelli picked a lot of stuff up and just kind of passed it along. So we spent a lot of time there. That's kind of how you get good on top is you have to emphasize it, and the more time you spend in positions, the more comfortable and the better you'll get. So that's kind of how I progressed, and you learn little tricks along the way, and I like sharing those tricks and try and help other people translate that onto the mat. So that's just fun.
Nice. What did the catbird?
Catbird seat, yes.
Catbird seat.
Yes.
Tell me about that real quick.
Catbird seat is catbird's bird built its nest up in a high tree. If you look it up, it's called position of advantage. So it's actually kind of funny because Coach Borelli, that's what he would call it. And we just thought he's a crazy old man, which he is. And he says it with his southern accent. So it was like, did he say catbird seat? Did he say catbird seed? And we never knew what he was talking about. We just thought he was crazy. We knew it as a wrestling move. And it's really effective wrestling move. So then, I don't know if everybody did this, but I did a little bit of research and looked up what it actually is, and so it's kind of funny because there's pockets of people that have heard what it's called, and actually Matt McCutcheon, who's teaching right now, he went to Penn State, and he's like Casey Cunningham, and Casey was obviously he's
pretty good on the mat.
Pretty good wrestler, one of the best wrestlers comes through Central Michigan. He's like, I've been hitting that move over and over, and then Dan was like, or Pete was like, have you heard it called catbird seat? He's like, yeah, that's what I know it as. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of small Central Michigan kind of culture thing.
There we go.
It's funny.
So what do you think of the concept of this combine?
I think it's really good. It's easy to look and find results, especially with Flo has a lot. You can find a lot of the state tournaments on track. We watch a lot of film, but what's nice about this, you see how they practice. My thing is, for us, especially our situation at Gardner-Web, we want guys that are good, but we want guys that are going to practice hard and get better. Because we're finding those guys that still have room to grow. So we want to see their practice habits. This is a good way to see their practice, see how they respond to teaching and coaching. And the other thing that's nice is obviously making contact with them, getting to know them, but having their information. You see somebody at a state tournament, unless you have a good connection with their coach right away, you're going to have to reach out to their coach, wait for him to get back to you, let him know. And at schools like ours, that just isn't always the easiest thing to do. We're not as well known as, if Penn State's sending you an email, or, even NC State, North Carolina. Those are the teams, that are recognizable. Where Gardner-Web, we're not as much. So it's easy for us to get information, get in front of these guys, and that's what I like. I see their practice habits.
So a compound is doing it's beneficial to you in that way. I guess too, it's kids coming here that you're like, okay, these guys are thinking about wrestling in college.
Knowing they want to wrestle in college is always beneficial too. Because we're looking for great wrestlers, great students, and guys that want to work hard. And we'll take a guy, even if you don't have the greatest results, but you want to be there, you want to, put the time in, we'll love to have you on the team. There's a role for everybody on all teams, and we're looking for those guys everywhere. So
nice.
And wrestling, you practice. 90% of wrestling is in the practice room. You only compete, 7 minutes. Match, you practice 2 hours every day. So seeing them in this environment where you're going to see them more, it's always beneficial to see that.
So clearly you want guys that can wrestle well, but if you're looking at other things they have good work habits.
Yeah,
they're tough in the room.
Yeah. Coachable, tough in the room. You know, just good people. You want to be around good people. I mean, that's who I'm spending my time with. These guys. They're my friends. In a way, you know, that's who I spend my time with. Joke around with them. So I don't. You know, it's not all about results on the mat.
Yeah. Cool. What's exciting at Gardner-Web right now?
You know, we're a young team, and for me, it's just me getting comfortable. This is like this week last year is when I got to Gardner-Web, so I'm just excited to learn. I mean, obviously, I've built relationships with guys in the team, having guys that I've reached out to, guys that I recruited in the room. I'm excited about that, and just building on that and get some momentum going. So that's what I'm excited about, is settling in, implementing my stuff, and me and Coach Elliott, we're on the same page. So it's not huge. I didn't come and shake up the world. But just that comfort level is different, and so that's what I'm excited about moving forward.
Cool. So you guys graduated a national qualifier.
Yeah. Tyler Marinelli's compound stud.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that when I saw you had some guys that are about there, that a couple freshmen that are placing pretty high for you. What with the guys that you have coming back, what needs to happen to get multiple qualifiers and start placing higher in SoCon?
Well, we need a little bit of maturity, and Tyler was our one lone senior. He was the guy that everybody looked up to, but he was a little bit ahead of everybody in the distance and age and stuff. So almost had him on a pedestal where I can't be that guy. I think now they understand, as they've been through it, the guys on our squad, and so we're just looking for those guys to raise their expectations, and then just have the patience to do the right things, be consistent, and then the wins are going to come. And then what we're looking forward to is getting this new recruiting class we come in, be around those guys that are excited about it, and it just kind of snowballs, and that's what we're looking for. So
what do you do to get better as a coach? What are the things that for your own personal development that you do to get better?
I am an avid reader. I'm always reading, so I'm always reading leadership books, performance books, stuff like that. But I like to talk to the guys. We have meetings at the end of the year where we sit them down and we obviously go through what they can do better, and then I always like to flip it around a little bit and say, what can we do better? And that's cool. That's the challenge is for us. Me and Daniel, we talk about this all the time because we're always talking to each other. We're in our office saying, we need them to do this, they need to do this better. And we're like, yeah, that makes total sense to us because we're coaches, we're from the same perspective. And then, so just communicating that with them and saying, hey, what did you hear us say? Because we heard it, we said it, we know what we're talking about, but did you hear it the right way? So that communication, so just, always trying to build those relationships with the guys where which buttons to push, what they expect of you, and they know what you expect of them, and that's the big thing, and that comes from spending time with them, and obviously communicating the vision and the real expectations of what you want. And so that's always the biggest battle, is getting out of your own head and thinking what you're thinking, and then trying to get them to internalize that. So, but yeah, that's.
So why wrestling? Clearly, you probably wrestled for a lot of years, most days of those years, and now you're coaching and spending your weekends and doing this stuff.
Well, this is fun, and getting to talk to these other guys, and obviously being around wrestlers. All my friends are wrestlers. My best friends are wrestlers that I met in high school.
Wrestling.
Yep, exactly. Wrestling. Guys on my team. In college, my dad was a coach. So my dad's a head coach at a high school in Ohio where I went to school. So when I was born, I was around wrestling all the time, and just, I love it. It's teaches you the right things, and that's one of the things that, everybody always talks about, and what we always try and touch on is the toughness, the resiliency, the self-reliance that wrestling teaches you, where you're going to lose, you're going to be in front of people and you're going to fail, but you know, wrestling you're going to be able to get back up and learn it. So those things that you learn through wrestling is really interesting and fun, and it's kind of like, you know, it translates. We all know that, like, it translates to real life, and so just knowing that those values, you know, they carry over and are kind of universal. Like wrestling teaches you that stuff. So that's what's exciting to me, and that has obviously, my love for wrestling has changed from when I was in high school to when I was in college. Obviously, high school I loved the competition and winning and being successful and the pride that you can have in that. And then in college, it's the hard work, maturity, obviously again the competition, and just the challenge, the real challenge it is at the Division I level. And then as a coach, it's like just seeing the values that it teaches kids and the maturity that they come through. And especially, you know, I'm still kind of young, but I've been a coach for 5 years now, and it's like now I have guys that I saw as a boy coming out of high school, and then they, you know, now they've matured into a friend and a man. So those are the things that are great about wrestling. I love that.
What's your advice to kids this age that are thinking about going to the next level, and they're spending time and energy, but what's your advice to them, you know, when they take that step? Or in the process of taking that step?
I would say, hey, go for it. You know, stay humble about it. You're never too good to learn something. And I think if you're worried about if it's going to be worth it, you know, there's a lot of people, and we would always say that, and Coach Brelli and actually David Boyd would say this a lot too, is like, there's a lot of people that go to school and get an education, and that's good, but there's not as many people that wrestle, you know, and there's a lot of guys that wrestle and don't make it through, and so there's even a smaller pool. And as great as the wrestling world is, if you are a part of wrestling or know anything about it, you know that somebody else that's a part of wrestling, they're good, like they're high level elite people. So just as far as promoting yourself, if you've been through any type of college wrestling program, you are, you know, you're the best of the best. And so people see that, and it's just another way to instill, like I was talking about before, those values and stuff. So that it's a different, you know, it's an investment of time and energy, but there's a lot of good that comes out of it, and that's what I would say. That would be my advice.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us some good technique today. You got anything else you want to share?
No, just go Bulldogs.
Boom.
And North Carolina, you Northern guys, I didn't have to clean my windshield one time this year, so I was pumped about that.
Something to be pumped about.
Yeah.
Take care, Coach.
Sure, thank you.